What's up, everybody? It's me again, and it's time to lean in, bitch. We are here for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, episode 2, season 11. That's right. Jamie is here with me again. Last week, of course, he was here. Danny and Chad could not be here. Hopefully, they'll be joining us. Hopefully, they'll be joining us soon. Girl, my tongue just all twisted. I've been talking all
Look.
day. My mouth is everywhere. But yeah, we're here for Beverly Hills. Second episode, good premiere. This episode, it was cool. It was okay. I think it's getting better. What were your thoughts
Yeah.
on the episode?
I mean, it's one of those filler things. Like episode one always has to like start it off and set the
Yeah.
groundwork. I think that with so much that is going on this season, it's not
Mm-hmm.
going to take long to
Right.
for the action to kick off. I mean, it already is setting up the Sutton versus Crystal kind of feud that, from what interviews
Already.
that I've seen, they're still not in a good place right now. They've been throwing digs at each other and watch what happens live interviews and stuff. So
That's exciting. I love when new people come in and start shit. Um, like I mean, like
right off the bat.
if they start shit and it's organic, it's not like reaching. Then I like it. But I'm here for it. And so yeah, that was one. I'm gonna jump around because I was gonna ask you about. I had a question to ask you about Crystal, and I want us to give our initial opinion on her. I know we talked about her last week, and I think I kind of was just like, I really don't know. But my question that I want to ask is, do you think by the end of the season that you will like her?
I think so. I think I do like her. She is coming off, she's super LA.
Okay.
Super, just like, she reminds me of a lot of Rinna, where it's whatever is on her mind, she's gonna say it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it rubs people the wrong way, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think because, I mean, she was saying what, her brother's a successful pop star in
Yeah.
China, and she's successful here. Like, there's a certain like level that she carries herself with.
Mm-hmm.
So it can come off a bit haughty, but I think I'm gonna like her. I like her now. She's no nonsense. She's
Yeah.
whatever. Her brother's fine, so
Come on,
that's
baby.
always a win in my
Well,
book.
they think you Asian too, child, and Chinese, so maybe this.
Look, let me slide in there. Let me let me get the brother's number. I'll marry a pop star. I don't give a fuck.
Well, especially K-pop star, they got some
I'll be a
money.
groupie. And he's the only one. There's normally 15 of them in a group. Like,
Yeah,
he ain't
that's
got to
true.
split that money at all.
That's true. So in this particular episode, of course, we talked about this last week. Garcelle and Kyle, they meet up. Is this again? Is this the first time?
No, I think last week we saw like just the preview of
Yeah,
it. It wasn't a long
that's
week.
right. That's right. That's right. So they met up, and Garcelle asked Kyle the infamous big question: would you have said this if it were to one of the white women? And Kyle did exactly what I thought she was gonna do. She was going, what? But she didn't say anything out of the way. She didn't. She kind of brought it back to like I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. She kind of left the race thing out, which I thought was very smart, especially during this day and time because we obviously are our people. Things issues are happening, but I do feel like some things we are overly sensitive about, and so they have to be careful. And they, as in them, I'm just saying. And so, so I'm just saying, like it was. I think she took it. She did the right way. Now, what I did like is that Garcelle, how she kind of brought it back to how it affects a black woman. I think we talked about this last week. I was saying, in
Hmm.
the black community, you talk about money, there is a stereotype in general, like it shouldn't be, but there is. They always feel like, well, not always, but people feel like things can be paid for. I like how it seemed like this episode overall, Garcelle was kind of dipping into black stereotypes and things that she has experienced. And I'm glad that she's doing that because she's been on the show for 2 seasons now. And I don't really feel like we got much to know much about her last season outside of her being fancy. So what are your thoughts on this scene with Kyle and then how she responded and then how Garcelle responded too?
I think, I mean, you and I touched on it last week. We were
Yeah.
hoping that she would just nip it in the bud. We were excited that she's here saying
Mm-hmm.
what's on her mind. I love that she approached it in just a very matter of fact way. She didn't tiptoe around it. It
Yeah.
wasn't the like, oh, I don't think I know you didn't mean it, but it was when you say stuff like this, whether or not you intend for it to do
Right.
harm, it's going to. And then I like that she relayed saying, we where I'm living in LA, people look at us as if like we can't afford these things. I love how she told the story about going to dinner.
Yeah.
It was real life relation, and it wasn't just like these hypothetical things. I don't see it for Kyle, never have, never will, but I have to give her props that she shut up and she was like, you know what,
Yeah. She listened. She
that never
listened.
occurred to me. It never occurred to me that something like that could potentially have a negative repercussion on you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So I was like, all right. And Garcelle is kind of showing this, that she's not afraid to stick people's feet to the fire when
Yeah.
they deserve it and when it's something that matters. I think last season we really didn't get to see a lot of her really shining because the Denise, Lisa, Brandy drama just kind of overtook everything, and there really was no room for anything else. So I like that she's kind of not Denise's sidekick anymore and is like, she's her, and we're
She
seeing a
really
lot
wasn't her
more of her.
sidekick in my eyes because if she was really her sidekick, Denise would have got drugged to the mud like that in my eyes. But at least I'm just saying, I'm not saying she's a bad friend. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that sidekick is like, you're not gonna come for my homegirl.
yeah.
And I feel
So
like
not a
she's doing
sidekick.
it. Yeah, go ahead.
It felt like the producers didn't know what to do with her without
Yeah,
Denise.
that's true.
So
That's true.
like
That's true.
she was attached to always telling
And she was
Denise,
getting
"Oh,
acclimated
you're
to the
gonna be
group.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah." She didn't
yeah,
get a
makes
chance
sense.
really to stand on her own because she had to go help her friend crying in the street.
Right. That's true. Now, I do feel like, it's season two. Garcelle is definitely, stepping up in terms of how she feels. Now, what she ain't doing are these confessional
Don't
looks.
don't I lo-
You don't
look.
like
Fancy
that. You
can do
don't
no
like
wrong in my
it.
eye.
You do not like it.
It's she's a gorgeous lady.
Fancy has not been very
She's a
fancy.
gorgeous lady.
She is
She's a gorgeous
beautiful.
lady.
But when she
I love
wears,
that little blue wig. I like
what was
that
it?
little blue wig. It was like an ombre, a blue ombre, or was it a purple ombre? So
Child, it was lilac. Is it lilac? What's the word? And then
not lilac.
it matched the same. It matched the same.
Yes.
The dress. It was not very
Yeah.
flattering for. It really. I just didn't like it. And we
Not
already
too
liked the
much.
last confessional look. So I mean, she only got like maybe three more that we're gonna see. And I just hope she gets at least three of the two correct. Cause right now she is losing in the confessional department.
I I don't I don't feel the same way. I think maybe she's not last.
Why is that?
She's not.
Who's last? If she ain't last, who last?
Crystal is boring me a little bit in the confessional looks.
I mean,
And then it's
she's
Crystal,
not a color girl.
Sutton.
Oh.
Are you saying you don't see color?
I don't see color with her ass. All I see is black
At
and dark
all,
colors.
at all. Uh, but not too much on Garcelle. She's learning.
Well, like I said, she gonna probably get like six, like five, probably 5 to 6 looks. Hopefully, she gets
Yeah,
3 that look good.
right.
And so yeah, I do. While we talking about Garcelle, we might as well skip around and go into while they're in Lake Tahoe, she's talking to Lisa. We talked about her being partners or sidekick with Denise, and then how she's kind of finding her voice. And I like how she's bringing up a lot of things that makes her, because I feel like last season she's black, she's a black woman, but she didn't let that blackness show. Now this season, where even as small as saying like black girls don't do bears, just something, what I'm saying, like I'm glad that she's finally, I don't know, somebody tapped her and said, hey girl, don't forget you black, or and she just kind of just whatever, got more comfortable with the cast. But I like it. But the conversation with Lisa, she basically was like she's learning. She's been told she was so nice, so sweet. She's learning to be more verbal in how she feels, but she doesn't want to come off as aggressive.
Yeah.
And my question, I had a question too, but what were your thoughts on that? And I'll ask you the question once I finish that.
I mean, I think the same thoughts as last week. I'm glad that she's standing her ground. I love that
Yeah.
little flashback scene they showed where her and Sutton are talking, and Sutton's like, "Oh, Lisa thinks you guys are great," and she kind of said she does. That sounds like
Yeah.
her problem.
Yeah.
I like that she's not doing that because you and I, we've seen Lisa over the years. Like we said last week, she has this way of beating people to the punch and apologizing and like, I'm sorry, I'll never say that again. And it's almost like she bulldozes people over their feelings so they don't have time to really be mad.
Right.
And then it's almost kind of Machiavellian in the way that she plays the other women, because then if she looks super apologetic and somebody still holds a grudge, it's almost like the other women are like, well, that's just Lisa. You can't stay mad at her. She already
Mm-hmm.
apologized. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And so nobody really ever stays mad at Lisa Rinna. And I'm glad that Garcelle was very like straightforward and said, this isn't like, we're not besties. We're not there yet. It's going to take a little bit of time. And so I want you to like listen, hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. You're a shitty friend to me. You're a shitty friend to Denise.
Denise. Yeah.
So as long as she sticks to that, and you could see it on Lisa's face, she was not
But you know,
used to
Lisa was
somebody.
very unapologetic. She was just like, you
Yeah,
know what? I got a feeling you want to stick it to me, but like, okay,
yeah,
like, you know, I'm not like a Lisa stan, but I do enjoy Lisa. You know what I'm saying, for her antics. People ask me, how do you like Lisa, but you know, but don't like Kenya more. But I just see them as being different. You know, I think one is more enjoyable than the other if you compare the two. But nonetheless, I feel like with Lisa in this situation, like not Kyle, what's her name? Garcelle honestly should have done that last week. I cannot, me personally, I don't like when we talk about something and it seems to be okay and you bring it back up. I understand that she's saying like she didn't let her talk last time. Well, then she should have still. Because one thing about me, if we have an issue, if someone had did to me what Lisa did to her last week at the conversation, I would still be like, well, no, this is how I feel.
yeah,
Because and I feel like Garcelle didn't. She kind of took the road of saying how nice she was and just kind of shut up. So you chose to shut up. So honestly, after we talked about it, I don't want to hear about it again. That's just how I am. You know, because honestly, you keep like even Lisa said it. She was just saying like, you know, if you're still there, then you stay there. And I'm not saying I
yeah,
don't think it was dismissive. I just feel like if you felt the way, you should have verbalized that earlier, and then not have me going home thinking we okay. I don't think Garcelle
yeah,
necessarily did that, but by her not getting out what she said, she basically allowed Lisa to get away with what she did. In my
yeah,
opinion, she did.
yeah.
But
I can see that. Yeah, it's Lisa's a character that you have to like study
she should
and
have
know
came
how to
in and been
talk to
like,
her.
no, like this. Let me tell you, I don't like what you
Yeah,
did. But Garcelle
yeah,
kind of just kind of like leaned back. She leaned out. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And that was it. So it seemed like everything was okay.
Yeah, I think she's learning. I like that Lisa. I mean, Lisa's good at thinking on her feet. She pivoted and
Yeah.
turned that to a whole monologue of, you can do what you got to do. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
me, and we just
Mm-hmm.
got to communicate. And I'm like, this bitch really rehearses lines for any kind of scenario in her head. Like that's
She's
what
a
makes her
smart
so
woman.
enjoyable to
She's an
watch.
actress.
You're never going to
She's an
catch her
actress.
slipping. Like she's thought of every possible scenario, and
Yeah.
she's got a monologue for it. So we'll see how this turns out.
We'll see, child. I mean, she said baby steps. She basically told Garcelle like I can't promise you that I won't turn on your ass
Yeah,
in
exactly.
some way. And Garcelle
Garcelle
was
wasn't ready
like,
for that.
yeah, I mean, so I have to respect a person like that because it may not be a person that I want to be around, honestly. But I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of like somebody that stands in it, you know, puts it out and stands in it. I just be like, you know what? There's a little respect now. You ain't gonna be my friend, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like, hey, it takes a lot of gut to just be like, really to say I said what I said and I meant what I said. Because sometimes we
And I'll
will
probably
say,
say it again.
and I'll probably say it again, right? So I respect people like that, even though I don't necessarily agree with it, but I respect it. So they went to Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is actually a common destination of LA. I like how they was asking about Lake Tahoe. I never actually been, but it's a very common. I haven't. I'm considering going there this year for a couple trip that me and my boyfriend are planning. But I like how they were talking about it. Like some of them had different opinions. I think Kyle was saying it was pretty and nice. It seemed like Erica maybe like she said she had nothing nice to say about it. Who said something else about Lake Tahoe? Like, who said something?
Nobody else had gone. Dorit said it reminded her of the Swiss Alps. I'm like,
But
oh, you're
somebody else said something
sweet,
about it. It was
sweet
her.
Dorit.
It was Erica, Dorit. It was Kyle. It was
Kathy's
somebody else.
Kathy's never been. Sutton's never been. I don't think.
Maybe it was
Crystal's never
Crystal.
been.
Crystal said that. Oh, Crystal was like, you know, oh, it's a trip for like local people.
It's a
It's
local.
basically like it's nothing, girl. I go there all damn time,
Yeah,
which it really is. I mean, it is a way to get up there. Like it's not like a hour away in terms of a drive. Yeah, obviously they took a little private jet thingy, and so it got there in an hour. About that private jet, Garcelle on this plane, had me hollering. I'm like, oh shit, girl. Now I know you don't like small planes, but girl, a plane is a plane,
She was having a full meltdown.
baby.
Like
She
just
was
seeing
having.
her face, how miserable she was.
She reminded me of my like of your that one family member in your family that finally flies, and they're like, woo, woo,
And hates
woo.
it. Yeah.
It's just too much, and she was really going through. But I'm glad that they were able to support her, and get her
Lisa
through
should have
that.
popped her a Xanax, reached into her bag of pills and given Garcelle a Xanax because, like,
Child, she
Miss
should have
Girl
went
needed
in.
it.
She should have went into Reed's bathroom and did some coke.
Did some coke. Were people doing coke on your private plane?
Right, that's what they should did. Oh, first of all, the lane does not support drugs, so I'm just saying.
At
It's a joke
all.
for the show.
Don't tag us. Don't tag us.
So then, also Kathy, I'm enjoying Kathy a lot. I am enjoying her a lot. She is hilarious. Kyle's little impersonation of her was actually spot on because she does
Spot on.
very spot on. But she got a confessional. I like her. Like I always every time I like when I see new people when they get friends of the shows, it's always like they never get the friends of the shows correct. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
always bring the
They're
friends.
always very awkward.
Well, no, what I mean is like the friends of the shows that they highlight, like Kathy and who else like Shamia. Back then, like they always bring them in as friends, but I feel like they should have diamonds or peaches. Like I would have liked to see Kathy, and I'm sure it was probably because of like her life and her husband, because
Yeah.
she has a very not only expensive but a very private life. I feel.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying her, and I'm glad she's on there. She's supporting Kyle, and I hope she gets into some mess. Like, what's your thoughts on Kathy?
Kathy was not at all, I said this last week, not at all what I expected. She's so kooky, so
Yeah,
just
very
like
kooky.
very off the wall, very like the stuff that comes out of her mouth. And when they were playing that three lies or two
Two
truths
lies,
and a
two
lie,
truths and a lie.
and
Yeah.
she don't know how to play the game. She
Mm-hmm.
never got a flask. She doesn't know what to put in a flask.
I'm
Like
like,
this woman is just there. I'm like, one, y'all were poor growing up, so I don't know yet who's never seen the flask. But she's enjoyable to watch. She's enjoyable to watch. I mean, that plastic surgery needs to settle. The new veneer she got
yeah,
has
everything in
her
the
with a
face is
lisp.
still new. It
It's
just
still
she was
very new.
while we were
It's got a new
quarantining,
car
she was
smell.
getting punked. Oh, not a new car
Rejuvenate.
smell.
It's got a new car smell. Seats haven't been broken in yet. But I like her. She's interesting. My only wish is that I really, really wish Kim and her were on together because I really
I
feel that would be some
know. I
mess.
like how they were
That would be
showing
some mess.
Kim back in the past and just her scenes. And if Kim was
That
on
would be a
there,
mess.
I don't even know if her. Poor Kyle. Kyle wouldn't even have to worry about the cast because her two sisters will wear her out. It seemed like.
Yep.
I don't think
Yep.
Kathy's a mean girl, but I mean, I don't know. Kyle is just so how she is, child. She becomes very victim over anything. I feel
Absolutely.
like so. I don't know. They played. Kyle cooked and burned food, the salmon. Sutton brought flags, the gifts that we talked about, and then they played two truths and a lie. Now this game can always be a mess, but one thing I took from this, if you notice, was that Erica's all her answers were related to criminal activity. It was all like, I mean, what was it? It was.
I was like, she telling on herself?
I was very much so like, okay, are you? Right, you telling on
She
yourself,
said
girl?
what? She said she worked for the mob. She was involved in an investigation, an FBI investigation.
And I was like,
And when she said that, I said,
wait a minute, did we skip an episode because this actually happens like
already.
some-
And then she said something else that was very, very specific to her life, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then she was like,
okay.
I can't really talk about it. I'll talk about it more, and I can talk to you on the side. So I was like,
In
oh,
private,
girl.
I'll tell you in private. I'm like, girl, you shouldn't have
Girl,
said
you
nothing.
on a damn national television show. Like, don't sit here and bring no bullshit out because it's gonna come out, and
It's gonna come
comes
out.
And everybody else, like, I found Crystals to be very interesting.
Crystals.
When she said escort and what was the other one?
She was propositioned to be a madam.
It was one more. madam,
And
escort, or something.
she was a madam escort, or she wasn't a madam. She was propositioned to be a madam, and she um,
Because it was her
was arrested.
actual
She said she'd never been
arrested.
arrested.
She never been arrested yet,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this, and when she, now if the lie had been madam, I'd have been like, oh, this girl is a bad girl. But I mean, yeah, I mean, hey, I could see it in her younger days before she was married. She probably was definitely running around
Probably.
here. And
It was
so,
that
oh,
was fun. That was
go ahead,
good to see them like relaxed
yeah.
and just like chilling a little bit.
I like how they edited that, of course, for like the main promo. Like it was something more, but they had
Yeah,
nothing to
and
do
then
with the
nothing,
whole situation.
and
But I
then
guess it
nothing.
worked out right. It worked out in that way. But
People got
I
tuned in.
want to talk about this last scene, which is Sutton, Garcelle, and Crystal. I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. Sutton, Kyle, and Crystal. I don't know why I put Garcelle. Now, this conversation was happening while Lisa and Garcelle were having their hash out, and this started with Crystal making Kyle drinks, and Sutton was there, and they basically were talking about. They started out talking about Garcelle and Kyle's relationship, and Sutton was kind of defending Garcelle, basically telling Kyle, when you being fake, this is what Garcelle don't like.
Yeah,
Um, and then she started basically explaining to her what Garcelle said about the whole stereotype thing, and how she said like she didn't know anything about that, but she learned, and so from this moment Crystal jumps in and she's just like, well, and I kind of live just because I like how she wasn't quiet about it. She's not
yeah,
a black woman, but she can speak to. I mean, we all can speak to stereotypes or whatever, but she can speak to one, specifically being an Asian woman or Chinese. Chinese, yeah. So
she's
I,
Chinese. Yeah,
yeah, Chinese. So basically, I was just like, okay, but Sutton kind of Sutton shut it down. I feel like she shut it down, and this is my opinion because she was just like, oh girl, we're not gonna go there. Like, it's already over here at
yeah.
this. And do you feel like she was making it more than what it was as far as I'm talking about Crystal?
Crystal.
And do you feel like, damn, I lost my question. Go ahead with that one first. It'll come back.
Well, first of all, Sutton was tipsy already, and she was up here
Yeah,
because when Kyle started, you could already tell. Like if you noticed when they were walking, when Crystal asked, "Well, did you guys have a problem or what was the issue?" She
yeah,
kind of like she was already ready to jump in and defend Garcelle. Like
yeah,
Sutton rides really really hard for Garcelle, so I
yeah,
really commend that she told Kyle. She was like, "Well, no, I spend a lot of time with Garcelle. She's one of the most realist, down to earth people, and if you talk to her that way." She's going to talk to you that way. But when you're fake, um, I really appreciated that Kyle said, "Well, this is." She said, this is what Garcelle told
I
me,
love
and I
that.
understood that." So
Yeah,
Kyle owned that part, and then Garcelle was kind of nodding in agreement because you could
yeah,
obviously she knows that Garcelle confided in her the reason too, so she's nodding, she's agreeing,
yeah,
absolutely defending, and I think that in that moment when Crystal was just trying to like share an experience
yeah,
on her life, I think Sutton went into almost like protective mode over Kyle as well. Because she said, well, when you, even if you're not, being Asian, when you stereotype us, and that's when Sutton was like, no, 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 we're not going to
yeah.
do
She
that. We're
shut it
not going to
off
say
so
anybody was
fast.
stereotyping because she made it a point to say, Kyle, I know that you did not mean it that way, but it came out that way. So you got to respect what Garcelle is saying. And it just went
Do you think
left. I
Crystal was
lived.
reaching, or do you
I
think
don't
do you
think
think she
Crystal
had a
was
valid?
reaching.
I got a valid entryway into the conversation to give her experience as well.
I think that her initial comment was right in line with the conversation. I think everything that happened after that was okay, girl. You reaching a little bit because
Yeah,
immediately, rather than saying no, I'm trying to share an experience, it was well, you don't ever have to think about that. You don't ever have to do that because you're white. And then the little comment of, "Oh, are you that girl? You don't see color?" And it's like that's not what
yeah.
I can get it. Sutton was girl, shut
I
up.
feel like
Every
Sutton was
single word she
definitely
said.
trying to avoid that, but it went.
Yeah.
It actually went further into it than Sutton was trying to
She
avoid.
just dug herself into a hole. She dug
She dug
herself into a
herself, but
hole.
I feel like, and I'm and I obviously I like Sutton, and I'm getting to know Crystal. I feel like Crystal really dug into it, like, oh, you don't see
Yeah.
color, and I think what triggered that comment was her talking about they made there's a stereotype of me being a redneck. And I think what
Redneck,
she
yeah.
was saying with that is that she's from the South, a Southern woman, and country and stuff. I get what she was saying. I don't really think it was a real racial issue. I don't think it was a moment to where there was anything. I think it was just I think it was alcohol, and I think it
Hmm.
was two women that obviously feel like there is a stereotype against them, kind of defending why they're not this way. You know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah,
Crystal was definitely trying to be like, I understand what Garcelle may have felt because she even said that, sometimes it's not about what you say. And the thing is, intent versus impact. I feel like,
yeah,
like Kyle's intentions were never to offend her, but you have to think larger than what you say. Think about what you say because what you say, the
absolutely.
words, go so well. So I see both sides, but I do think Crystal kind of dug a little deeper than she should have. Especially, I think she was fine at the one point, but when she went into just say you don't see color, it was almost like she was like I kind of gaslighting her to get a moment.
Well, because she
And
could already see Sutton was
yeah,
unhinged a little bit. Like
well, because
Sutton was
it's
a,
like
like,
think about the time, like and they're filming between this time and like last year and then today. They're filming during the
yeah,
time period, and so it's like to talk about race and not seeing color in that time is very sensitive. You're on a television show, and I'm not defending Southern that way, but I just feel like these women they have
totally.
they have a black cast member, so they're
Yes.
already on edge on with anything they say or do. So for Crystal to go there, it's like girl.
And it's, Sutton just kind of she's a person that will say everything that comes to her mind. She's not one of
Yeah,
those to hold her tongue.
yeah,
So if she genuinely got upset that it went there, and then
yeah,
it just, she couldn't help herself. And so it really does highlight perhaps some lack of self-awareness that you and I mean, and everybody, black,
yeah,
brown, we talk about this lack of self-awareness that people have when they don't have the capacity to speak on race relations without getting emotionally invested, without
yeah.
feeling attacked. And so, the way I was looking at it, the conversation was just Garcelle defending her friend, and then turn around and Crystal accuses her of being a white woman who doesn't see color. Like, she's like,
Yeah,
I'm defending my friend. I
yeah.
really, the whole conversation, I just wish Sutton would have
Well,
stop stop talking. Please stop talking.
she didn't really say nothing because she was just like, "Are you serious right now?" Because
Yeah,
I feel like she was in a corner to where it's like I should probably
she
not
wasn't
say
going to
nothing.
win after that.
No, there's
She
no
wasn't going to
right.
win
There's
after that.
nothing because Kyle was even quiet and Crystal was like,
Yeah.
say something, girl, say something."
Well, and I see, and I that's a good point, because I don't like conversations like that happen unwarranted. I don't like when you kind of throw this big blanket statement out there, and then the other person really doesn't have anywhere to go. Like, where do you go back from being accused of, are you one of those people who says color
Yeah,
doesn't
I don't
exist?
like
Like,
accusations
you
like
can't
that.
come back
I
from
don't
that
like. I agree. Like I don't like
unless it's warranted.
right, and then you're speaking. If this was, I don't know. Like I said, I think it was just the redneck thing. When she said people something about redneck, I think she was making herself sound like she voted for Trump. I think that's what it
Poured
was. And
oppressed, and
that's
it's
what
like,
it
Mom,
was
that's
when
not
she
it.
exactly when she
That's not
started
it.
there when she went down the redneck lane. I'm like, oh girl, she's about to make America
Wrong road.
great again. Wrong road.
I
And I
Wrong
think
road.
that's what
Wrong.
triggered because honestly, listening to that, I see why Crystal could think like that, but I just wouldn't have
Yeah.
took it there into color. I would give her a little more time to explain herself, and then I would let Sutton definitely dig herself completely in the hole versus just one foot, because she had one foot in, and
Yeah.
then before she could put the other foot in her damn self, Crystal just said, "Girl, move, poof, she fell in."
Yeah.
so it was too
Yeah.
late, but I just hope she can recover because I actually really like Sutton. I don't think it'd be that big of a deal, but obviously this goes on for so long, and so that's how we get to the ugly leather
They
pants.
I want to know if they had something going on that we didn't see, because it seems like just right off the bat they just did
Crystal,
not,
yeah,
Crystal and Sutton just did not, they weren't interacting with each other much at the
they
barbecue
really weren't.
last week. This week they interacted virtually none at all.
Yeah,
It's I don't know, and they don't have an easier road the rest of the season. So I don't
They're
I
still
don't know
beefing right now. I think you
to
said that.
this
Like they still.
to this day.
So the
Um,
reunion is gonna be good. I just hope it don't become no Black Lives Matter and Asian
yeah,
lives. Asian lives. All that's going on, child. I just hope it don't go that way, cause I don't want to hear
because
about
it really
that.
diminishes like real life microaggressions and real life
Yeah,
like
yeah,
conversations, that stuff
yeah,
that happens. Like, girl,
yeah,
you very could have easily said, "Hey, I'm just trying to relay a personal story to what Garcelle may have felt,"
yeah.
but instead
But
you turned it right around and accused
it
this
was a
woman of
bad
being a
situation.
MAGA.
Right. Correct. But it was I mean, Sutton should have just let her get her story out. So I think what Sutton did was the opposite of what Kyle did when Garcelle
Mm,
was giving her story. Kyle just kind of just shut up
absolutely.
and listened. Sutton felt like on
Entitled
the
to defend herself.
defense to
Yeah.
defend herself, defend I guess Kyle too in a sense, in a slight way, and so she spoke out, and that's where she went wrong. So she, it just kind of like her, like I said, she dug that hole now. Now she didn't put herself in the hole. She dug the
Nope.
hole.
She
Crystal
dug
pushed her
it.
in that
She got a
hole.
foot in it.
She got a
How
foot.
how this next episode plays out will determine if she jumped in it,
Yeah,
or if she said, "Let me just put this dirt back over here."
yeah.
Because Twitter ate
So
her up today. Twitter ate her up
they
today
probably
when that
this
scene.
child. I ain't even looked at Twitter, but
Twitter
I
ate
know it's
her
gonna
up
be a
today.
mess. I know it
And I
is.
don't even, after seeing that, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I did cringe, but I'm like, oh, this
Yeah,
little clip
yeah.
that
It wasn't
Twitter
as
showed, it made
bad.
it seem like,
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be too. It was kind of mild to me, in my opinion. I'm not
yeah.
as sensitive to certain subjects and topics as others, but that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, hell, we had a whole conversation on Dallas, and that's legitimate
Oh yeah,
microaggressions and racism that
oh
girl
yeah,
went on. So, I mean, I think that given the severity of things, you can
yeah,
look at situations and be like,
yeah.
all right.
Right. Well, I mean,
So,
that
I
pretty
don't
much
know. But
covered that entire episode. Like
yeah,
we just kind of skipped
that's
around.
it.
I think it's probably gonna be a little like this for the first few episodes, but I'm
Yeah.
going to commit to completing the season. This is actually my first time recapping this show,
Yeah.
for the lean. So I'm gonna stick to completing the entire season, unless it just gets really boring, child. I mean, really boring, and I
Yeah.
hope they don't get there.
I did enjoy the flashback scene with Dorit and Kyle, and it showed Dorit's original face
Oh my
from
God,
2000
Dorit. She looked like
from
she was on. When I
2018.
tell you, she looked like the Fifth Element. Lord, that face.
Not Lilu. Not
That was she
Lilu.
looked. She looked. I said, "Oh, Dorit came a long
And
way. Not even just the face, the glam,
Dorit was
everything.
never an ugly. She was never an ugly woman. But when you go back and you see, like,
This was just 2018, 17, like 3 years
yeah,
ago. Lord have mercy.
yeah,
She's come a long way in such
a
a
long
short
way.
period of time. I'm so
That
glad for the
check,
growth and
that
the
Bravo
build up.
check.
Right, because these girls be around here acting like, oh, I don't need that little check, but they be
You
needing
don't
that
need
little.
it, but you use it.
They
But you
use it
use
and
it.
they glow up. So just saying,
You
we're
use
gonna go
it.
into that. That's a different show.
But
Well,
it's
we're gonna.
fun. I'm having fun.
I am too. It's going pretty smoothly. So we're gonna see. We're going to lean out. Of course, we have covered everything. I want to make sure everybody like, subscribe, comment, all things lean. We're supposed to have a full screen today, but we will have a full screen soon too. There are other individuals on the panel, Danny and Chad, but unfortunately they was not available. So me and Jamie gonna come through and give you what you need to know.
Y'all gonna get tired of me.
Child, you know Jamie gonna run it. You can find Jamie on Instagram at it's Jamie, not Jamie83. Me at Stupid Wild Test, or obviously at the actual blog page, the Lean blog. Until then, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, and check out some of the other recaps and reviews that are up right now. If you're watching Legendary, that's up. Why we do that weekly. Married to Medicine, we finishing that, even though it's kind of boring.
It's look,
And then,
I've been enjoying your recaps of Married to Medicine more than like the full episodes of Married to Medicine.
ooh,
And thank God for Heavenly and Contessa, because if it weren't for them two, ain't shit going on I'm so tired of Toya, but that's another. I'll let y'all recap that on y'all of the show.
Go recap that. We're
Go
going to
recap.
get yeah, we're not recapping, but go watch that. We're going to get out of here, and we will see y'all next week for the next episode 3. So yeah,
Episode 3. Is that what we
all
on?
right.
Yeah.
Good night.